we're on Stacking Dreams podcast.
Yes.
And I had a dream about Shxts and gigs last night. I've never had a dream about them before. And it was like a strange dream because we were in a hall and James and Fuad were there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they, in the dream, they kind of knew me, but I was like, guys, I'm a big fan. But they're like, oh, Daps. I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, these guys don't know me. Because in real life, they don't know me. They're like, Daps, how you getting on? So we're all just like shooting the shit. We're enjoying ourselves, you know. And then I was like, guys, let me show you my podcast. They're like, all right, go for it, man. So in my head, I remember being nervous because I was like, what 3 episodes am I going to show them now? I was like, okay, Paul, this one, the Mologo one. So I wanted to show them the ones, Danica, M.R. And for the life of me, I couldn't get the TV to work. All I remember in this dream, it became a nightmare because I took the remote and you know how you, like, you know when Netflix, sometimes you want to spell a movie.
Yeah.
Tell me why this remote was in Russian or some Eastern European language. Because I remember when you press A, it will come up with Y.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Type B, it come up with X, you know, that sort of thing. So it was just such like it was a nightmare of a dream because I was trying to show these guys very quickly my podcast. I was chilling with Daps. You know what it came up as? Chilling with Dad.
In the dream, for real.
In the dream. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It was just scary. I was like,
it's so.
But you know what then happened in the dream, right?
Yeah.
It showed chilling with Dad, and then it showed suggestion, chilling with Dad. So I was like, thank God. So I scrolled right.
Yeah.
I clicked on it, then I went to my page and I started showing them the videos. And it was like a real dream, but it felt weird because I was like, I get to meet Shxts and gigs and I'm trying to show them my content and nothing was working right.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
So weird. That for real. Like.
But they're so cool in the dream though. They didn't care.
Because they're really cool in real life. So I'm not surprised.
Funny part was like, whilst I was trying to show them stuff, James was cool. He was standing right beside me the whole time. He was like, oh, don't worry about it, dude. Sometimes tech takes time to work. The TV is obviously not working. It's not your fault. And then Fuad was like, I'm going to go to the toilet. And so Fuad goes to the toilet. And by the time he's coming back, that's when Chilling with Daps is on. And I remember just thinking, imagine if Fuad comes back and this TV is still not working. It's going to go, let's just cut, guys. This guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Maybe not.
Yeah. No, but to answer your question, it's really funny because I had that dream before I came here today, just last night. And I'm a big fan of Shxts and gigs. They make me laugh. They work really hard. I think they record like 2 or 3 times a week. There's a lot of dedication that goes into what they do. Yeah. And they have a lot of success.
A lot.
The kind of success that probably a lot of us also want, you know. I think I'm openly a supporter of Shxts and gigs because you have to show sometimes that, you know, who you draw inspiration from. There's nothing, you don't need to hide anything. Let's just, if you like someone, just say you do. What we hiding really at the end of the day, you know, like I've met 90s babies, you know, have you heard of the guys? I met them once in London last year and it's a funny interaction as well. I met them at Wingstop outside of a conference. I went to a conference in London and they were there and they went to the Wingstop. I went to the Wingstop and they were there and I said, hey guys, how you getting on? Big fan of the show. Didn't tell them I'm a podcaster, didn't tell them where I'm from. But it's interesting because I've had about 3 or 4 friends go on their podcast. So I could have told them, hey, have you know my friend such and such, they came on your show and they would have said, But I didn't want to do that. I just said, hello, nice to meet you. Your show is great. And that was it. But yeah, I think it's okay to openly support people because one day people will openly support you too.
You've answered my next question, which was going to be, should people be open to saying, I've learned from this person?
People are just scared that if they admit that they support someone, that it will make their production less of what it is. But it's not necessarily so. Just be humble and give people credit.
Yeah, true. What's the most important thing that you've taken from watching bigger podcasters?
Production value is very important. Like, you know, having the right equipment, knowing how to use the right equipment and kind of like knowing how to place things in front of the people you're trying to reach. I think that's the hardest thing because if we all knew how to place what we're trying to do in front of the right people, we would have all blown. Because you can shoot the best thing, but if you can't put it in front of the right people, you've done nothing really. So I think what I've taken from them is there's times like I was teaching a course yesterday on podcasting and media on behalf of North Tyneside City Council, and I had a bunch of people come into the lecture to learn about media and podcasting. As I've sat there, I wanted to show them something on my YouTube channel, on my YouTube account. And my YouTube account is like, you know, has a history of everything that I'm watching. As I logged on there, everybody saw, because I put it on the TV, they're like, damn, Daps, you're just watching a lot of podcasts and a lot of like good shows. And they're looking at all these thumbnails and I'm like, guys, this is inspiration for me. You can even see that my algorithm suggests this sort of stuff because a lot of times I'll screenshot things and go, I like how he did that thumbnail. I wonder if for the next Chilling with Daps episode, I can take an inspiration there. So a lot of it really is when you're watching big channels is just taking little notes and applying it every single episode you do.
I agree. You've had guests from all walks of life, artists, DJs, promoters, politicians.
Yeah.
How do you describe how do you decide who gets a seat at the table and what makes a great podcast guest?
For me, it's mostly people I'm fascinated to talk to. If I just like you and I want to talk to you, you'll get an invite. But I'll be honest, I'd probably even say the last 30 shows we've done, I've not even booked anyone. They've just reached out. Yeah, I can't remember the last time, apart from Paul and maybe like one or two others. A lot of my most recent guests, because it's become a thing in Newcastle where it's like, if you're doing anything, go talk to Daps.
Yes.
Basically.
One more. I can't wait to get to half of that.
So it's like, that's just what it is now. It's like, if you want to do something, go talk to Daps. So like people naturally reach out. So it saves me. I don't have to really reach out to a lot of people at the minute. But if I want to reach out to people that I want to talk to, like the show is changing a little bit. We're still servicing the Northeast and showing what's happening in the
Before you go into that area, I want to ask a question on the back of what you said. From the time when you started the podcast up until people started reaching out to you by themselves, how long did that take?
For me, I would probably say about 2 to 3 years.
Jesus.
About 2 to 3 years. Yeah, but I didn't even know that it was going to be that. It just happened by default. I didn't really plan it. I wasn't thinking one day people will be reaching out to me. It just got to the point where everybody was doing something and everybody was like, go talk to Daps. That's how it happened. It's not like it was planned. It just happened.
So you were doing that, showing up consistently every week, and up until 3 years before you then started being a force in this area, in this space.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of dedication.
It takes dedication. And I think what makes the best guest is if you want to talk to them, they're already the best guest. Because if you don't want to talk to them, then you're going to struggle having an authentic conversation with them. Yeah.
You're right. Is there a dream guest that you haven't landed yet?
Oh, yes. There's loads. There's probably like 100 dream guests. If you go, there was once upon a time I used to actually write my dream guests on my phone because I knew that I'd get them on the show at some point. It's just a matter of time and placement. But yeah, I'll get anyone I want on the show. Is just a matter of time. Eventually, even like I would love to get a couple of people in aviation on, some pilots, that have like done inspirational things in aviation. I'd like to get some doctors on, some politicians on. I'd love to have President Tinubu on the podcast. Yeah, I'd like to ask him what are you going to ask him? What's going on?
Tell me what the hell is going on.
What's going on? You're too old to be in politics. You should be retired by now. You what major move have you made that has advanced the economy in any way since you've started running the country?
It is done.
It
is done. That's all we know.
But that's not good enough because people are suffering.
But because he's not delivering, to be honest, in my opinion.
So I would love to talk to controversial people, even like him, even though I know that some of my audience might disagree. But I think as a podcaster or as a presenter, we shouldn't limit who we can talk to. Talk to your enemies and your friends because in every conversation, you're going to learn something.
True. And it will shock you the perspective that you would discover those people.
Yes.
So it's like you said, you're right. It's very good to just hear both sides
absolutely.
Of the story.
Yep.
So you founded Init Studios.
Yes.
Audio engineering, brand marketing, content strategy. At what point did the podcast stop being a hobby and start being a business?
Yeah, well, best way to explain that is when I started editing my own videos and audio and everything, one day it just dawned on me that it's now a skill that people are willing to pay for. And the day I realized that, that's the day that I thought, okay, now time to start a limited company. So it just became a thing where it's a full circle moment because I remember when I used to want to work at the BBC and they never really had an opportunity for me. I didn't take it personal. But I remember that the BBC then reached out to me one day. I got a phone call. Actually, it was an email and a phone call. And it was a lady, and she said, hi, my name is such and such, and we found your podcast. We wanted to ask who does your audio for you. Hire in an audio engineer for your podcast, or did you study audio engineering in uni?
Wow.
And I said, no, I did not. And they said, your audio sounds clean. It literally sounds at the sort of standard that we're placed with. And me and that presenter went on to be friends. We're still friends till this day. And then she, in turn, actually came to my company, Init Studios, a couple of months later, and we filmed and recorded 2 seasons of her own podcast. And she's still a presenter at BBC to this day.
Wow.
So I think it's a full circle moment because I realized that this is going to go from a hobby to commerce because I've learned the skills. I can now put the skills out there. People can also utilize it. And yeah, that's business. Business is when you can take something that you can do and your talent make ways for you and you're making money. However, so small, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but it's getting to the point now where we're enjoying ourselves a little bit.
What was the first moment you got paid? for something
for some,
connected to podcast,
I can't,
not music.
Yeah, it would probably have been when we got that studio. Well, when we got the studio, very quickly, the whole story about the studio was interesting. But when I got the studio, I realized that I wanted to immediately start having clients, that we're going to be paying clients, because it couldn't just be chilling with Daps that was happening from the studio. I was like, we need to get some money coming in here. So I'm going to pitch myself to a couple of content creators and see if they want to hire the space. And I got very lucky. I think about 2 people said yes. And those are the people that paid my rent for almost 2 years.
My God.
Yeah, they just paid off the rent because they were, it was, money was coming in. I didn't have to worry about rent for almost 2 years there. So that was when I started making money from the business side. The first time someone ever paid me money for chilling with Daps itself, I had a guest on. It was a fantastic guest, and he came to me and in a very Nigerian fashion, he said, "I love what you do.
Oh.
You're amazing." He said, "Do you realize you're amazing?" I said, "Don't worry about it, man." He's like, "Give us your bank account." I said, No. He said, "My friend, what's your bank account?" So I said, "All right, cool." And then he sent me £150. And I remember thinking, damn, if everyone paid me £150.
Can only be a Nigerian that can do that. I'm sorry to say.
Facts. There was a Nigerian. There was another client, British client. He came on. Before he came on, he's a director of a multi-million-pound company. I didn't even release this episode. That's how crazy this one is.
Wow.
Multi-million-pound company in marine technology.
Wow.
Marine technology. He developed a software that's worldwide used in marine technology, marine tech. So his team reached out to me. "Daps, we need you to interview the CEO of the company, the founder of the company, but as like your episode, one of your episodes. If you want to release it, fine. If you don't release it, but we want to use the clip on our website and on our social media. How much do you want?" So I said, "Well, I don't know, whatever."
They basically gave you a blank check.
So they gave, actually, I'll tell you how much they gave me. So they gave me £250 for 2 minutes of conversation. Yeah. The entire filming took about 30 minutes. The entire editing took about another 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Ideally, for talking to me for 2 minutes, he paid me £250. I know that the work that went behind it maybe took about another hour or 2. But essentially, they paid me like £250 for an hour of work, maybe 2 hours of work max. And I never released the episode. The episode is still on my hard drive.
Why not?
But I think I have so many episodes I've not released. Sometimes I just keep them. So they just wanted it on their new website and they wanted it on their social media and LinkedIn. So I was happy with that, but they wanted me to present it. So it didn't really matter that I put it on my channel because it was very it was very niche specific. It's marine technology. So there's a specific kind of person that listens to that.
Yes.
And I already talk about a lot of stuff. So I was like, let me not just put an extra stuff. It's so specific, marine, but so maybe one day I'll put it on there, but for now it's just in the hard drive. But yeah, so that's when, then the money started coming. Sometimes some people are starting to just, here you go. Then you've got some little sponsorships, local sponsorships. Restaurants are very kind. We used to get free food, which is nice because I don't have to pay.
Exactly.
So,
sorry, what are your thoughts on paying guests or being paid to have, like someone coming to you to say, "I want to be on your show. I can pay to be on your show."
I can pay.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, I won't lie. I nearly implemented it at one point, I'll be honest. But what I was trying to do when I was trying to implement mine was not a pay as you talk. It was more collaborating on, you're a featured guest. There's a difference between pay me to come on my show and let's work as a collaborator, because I'm an investor. For you to come on my show, I've invested so much into everything that you're seeing, but I'm also investing into the production. On average, an episode of Chilling with Daps takes about 7 to 8 hours to produce. And that 7 to 8 hours is time, right?
Yes.
Time and equipment and stuff that are being used. So if I actually had to pay someone to sit down in an editor's room, 7 hours of work, even if it was £15 an hour.
Editing is a lot of work.
Right, even if it's not just the editing, the script writing, everything that someone has to do that you and I do, Viv, is someone else's job as well. So ideally, if you wanted to do some kind of like a featured guest episode, you could, but you can reserve that for like business owners and people that have funding to do that sort of thing. Like if an artist comes to you now and says, "I'm releasing a project in December," assuming it's a serious artist, that means they have a team behind them with a budget.
Yes.
So, but they want to break it through your platform because they trust and they like you. But if they have a budget of £25,000, what's £1,000 to sit down in front of you, knowing fully well that you're going to do the best you can to present them to the world in the best way that they need to be seen?
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
It's true.
You can't be local creatives that don't really have £500 to afford that. So for those types of people, you just have to keep having them on and supporting them. But if a big brand comes to you now, you have to tell them, look, what we're going to do here is very professional. This is asset sharing, so I can create the episode and give you the entire asset for your use however you want. So you're going to have to pay for that. So I've thought about it, but content is king. But I've thought about it, I'll try to implement it, and then I deleted it, and then now I just don't even think about money. I think the money will come in another way. We just have to keep doing what we're doing,
So are you saying that this podcast, besides, of course, the connections you've made and people you've met, you can't really say that you've made huge financial success with this over the past 4 or 5 years?
Over the past 6 years, it's just been a big passion project. I've made money, I've been paid, but not enough for me to quit my job. I don't think it's impossible. I think that maybe I've had my focus in the wrong places over the past few years. For instance, like I wasn't paying attention to YouTube until very recently. I really started taking YouTube very seriously in 2024.
Where were you posting your podcast then?
It was on YouTube, but I wasn't thinking about YouTube. I just used to put it up there, put a thumbnail, just whack it up. But there's so many things that professionals now. I have 2 good friends in YouTube that are professionals. One was Paul. Paul was one that you all saw, but there's a guy called Giles that no one ever saw. He also has 500,000 subscribers. He also was telling me about 2024, that Daps, take YouTube seriously. And he was telling me certain things. So it's only the last 2 years out of 6 years of doing this that I've really started to think, wow, TikTok, Instagram are okay. But really and truly where the money is, where the attention is YouTube. And that's where a lot of people have zero interest. Even you said on this episode, I wish YouTube could be easier. But it's not going to be easier, is it? We just need to get better at using it.
That's where those other platforms come in.
That's why I want to focus on YouTube. Now, your thumbnail is so important. Your titling is so important. The guests you're getting on is so important. So you can't just do whatever you want on YouTube. If you do, you'll get 10 views.
Yes. After so much work.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
So I guess my next question would be, you landed Magic Mike as a podcast sponsor.
Magic Mind, yes.
Magic Mind, rather.
2 years running.
So for someone listening right now who dreams of monetizing their content, what does that journey actually look like and how did it happen?
I thought it was a scam when they first reached out to me. I promise you, I thought it was a scam. They reached out to me in 2024. I'll never forget, it was on my birthday. It was January 17th, 2024. I got an email from Magic Mind saying, hey, we would like to work with you.
Come and gone.
They want to work with me. And I remember I was like, yeah, this is a scam. I did all my research that day. I sent it to my mom, dad, brother, and sister. So that because I prefer for a lot of people that I trust to look at things. They're like, it doesn't look like a scam. I was like, yeah, okay. So anyways, long story short, we went back and forth. They paid me for that. They paid me and they sent me free products, and they're a company based in Silicon Valley. But the reason why I actually agreed to them is because they sponsor my favorite podcast. So they sponsored Joe Rogan's podcast and Kim Kardashian. So when I saw that, I was like, bet. I was like, if you're sponsoring Joe Rogan already, that's the granddaddy of podcasts, So I did it for that. So I did it in 2024. They really liked what I did. And when the campaign ended, they said, Daps, because I think I might have been either one of the only content creators in the UK they went with, because I looked online everywhere. There was no one else in the UK on Magic Mind in 2024. No one. In 2025, there was a few more podcasts because I did my research. In 2024, there was no one. So either I was one of the only ones or probably the only content creator in the UK. They paid me and they sent me free products. But in 2025, the year of the MOBO Awards, they reached out to me again and they were like, hey, we want to work with you. But this time, like we said, we enjoyed working with you. Instead of working with you for a month, we're going to do 3 months. We're going to pay you for the 3 months and we're going to send you free products for the 3 months. And so I did a campaign and it was very nice. I got a lot of packets. I was giving it to a lot of my friends. So it was random. I thought it was a scam. It wasn't. It was cool. It just was one of those things that just happened and that was it.
Oh, wow. That's like, you opened my eyes to the possibilities in this space, to be honest. I want to ask you something personal.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sitting here as someone who is launching Stacking Dreams.
Yes.
Literally a podcast about procrastination.
Yep.
And that I procrastinated for 3 years before starting this podcast. What do you want to say directly to me and to everyone listening who hasn't started yet?
What do I want to say to you for anyone that hasn't started yet? Start. It's okay. Just start. Whether you have a camera or not, whatever it is you want to do, just start. Just remember, it's the passion of it. What do you like about what you're trying to do? If I was to sit across from you, which I am, and I'm saying, hey, look, you said you want to do a thing. What do you enjoy about that thing? And then you're telling me what you like, and I'm thinking, right, you enjoy this, you enjoy that. That's enough for you to start, right? If you want to go for a walk, put your clothes on, go for the walk, you know, like you'll feel 10 times better for doing it than not, you know? So I'm just saying to anyone that's watching or listening, that thing you want to start is not too grandiose to start. I don't care what it is. If you want to go to space, you have to start from somewhere. I'm trying to say, so just start it.
True. What is the cost of waiting that most people underestimate?
So I think the obvious answer to that one would be just time wasted.
True.
Time wasted, because you wait for so long, and what's your mindset? Are you thinking that time catches up with you? Time waits for no one. So it's taking you 5 months to do something, and that's 5 months gone. You ain't never getting it back. So that's the cost of waiting.
Many of those.
Yeah. And that's okay. You know, it's human. We're not perfect. We're not robots. Is like we need to search deep within into what's holding us from doing the things we want to do. Sometimes it's, you know, it's trauma that we haven't understood properly. Sometimes we're shy, but why are we shy? Is it because someone kept telling us to shut up when we were younger? So now we don't want to talk in public. You know what I'm trying to say? There's so many things that we've been through growing up in our environments where we grew up that we've not addressed yet. And that's carried on into adult life. And that's, you know, massively impacting the way we perform and do things. Most people need to sit down and reflect on who they are, where they are in life, and why they are how they are before they do anything. Before you start any project, just think about, reflect. Who am I? What am I capable of? What do I want to do? Because if you don't think about these things, you will just see that you're not getting anywhere, and it's because there's so much in there that's unresolved.
It's true. You're hitting the nail, like you're talking to me for real. So what would you go back and tell yourself in episode 1 that you wish you had known?
In episode 1, I'll say, hey, dude, everything will be okay. You're going to do well. You're going to do well. And every single mistake you're going to make on the way, it's all right. Some of it is your fault. Some of it won't be your fault, but it's all right. Just one day you'll get a good camera. You know, one day you'll get a better camera. So don't let that distract you. One day one day the guest you reached out to that said no to you because you thought they were going to be your big guest will reach out to you 3 years later and ask to be on your show.
Wow.
That's true. That happened to me so many times.
Yes, I can tell that that's what you mean. And that is so profound.
When you're in your building phase, you have to explain to people that certain things have to happen at a certain time, and you just have to do it. So I hate that in the past 4 or 5 years, there's certain events that I've not been to, certain birthday parties that I've missed. Time with family sometimes, which I hate not spending time with family. I'm okay with missing it because it was for this purpose. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting to a point in my life where I don't want that to always be the case. I was single for a long time, didn't have a girlfriend, because you can't have a girlfriend really when you're trying to build your dream and they don't understand. So many relationships, some understood, some didn't. And so one thing that I try not to do today is to involve my romantic partner too much in the things that I'm doing. And she disagrees sometimes because she wants to be such a part of what I'm doing. And I say, hey, look, I care about you. What I've learned, that when I've carried women along with me in the past with some of the things I do, when things aren't so great, it can sometimes muddy the waters in the relationship as well. We need to separate our business from pleasure. We need to keep business over there and pleasure over here. Do you understand? And I think for me, not until I marry someone officially, if I didn't learn anything from my mom, she always said, guard your talents jealously or livefully, then bring them into everything. Because I just think that you have to be very careful. Yeah. So I'm not saying that you can't bring your girlfriend in or your boyfriend in, but I lost a lot of relationships during it. And I lost it because sometimes I brought them in and one thing happened or one thing happened. So, but like a cut-off timer. So like, I feel like by the time I get to 40, there's certain things that I don't want to have to be doing. Not because if I'm doing it by that age, I'll complain, but just because I imagine that I may have a family, and then the dynamic is going to change when I have my own family. I can't be missing from, my kids' life or my wife's life if, when I'm married and stuff. So, but right now is the time to miss things.
Yes.
So I think building Chilling with Daps has cost me some occasions, But then, interestingly enough, though, when the occasion mattered, I was there. So, for instance, I'll never forget that one year, I've told this story once before. One year, Brimo came from Nigeria to perform at O2 Islington. And a friend of mine, NC Gray, she's a jazz neo-soul artist. I play piano for her. She contacted me and said, hey, Daps, we've got a gig at O2 Islington. We're supporting Brimo. But it coincided with the same weekend that my brother was doing his engagement party. So my brother said, I've engaged my wife-to-be. I need you on the engagement party. And the gig with Brimo, I'd known about in advance. So even though I'd known in advance, I had to cancel it. And obviously the conversation was, my friend was not very happy. She's like, I know your brother's getting engaged, but is there any way?
I don't understand.
So that was an example of an occasion that was family related that I actually had to sacrifice my own career. Because till this day, you know, I met Mologo.
Okay.
And Mologo was telling me, when Mologo came on my podcast, he said, Daps, I performed that gig. And I said, what? I would have met you 3 years ago. But my point is that full circle moment.
Fine, yes.
I still met Mologo in the end, completely unrelated, you know, still met him in the end. 3 years later, we still had a podcast, and just things work out in the end, you know. Sometimes you will have to be at a family event. And sometimes you'll have to say.
Have you ever missed one that really weighed on you, that anytime you think back on it, you're like?
Not really. I think when it really comes to it, it's not that, I always say it's not that deep, you know. Like with my podcast, I can always reschedule. It's not come to that extent. And even if it was the biggest podcast in the world, if it was something serious, I'll probably find a way to prioritize family and friends, you know. So it's really not come to that. So yeah.
Okay. So you advocate for Northeast award ceremonies for creators. I guess my question out of that is, what is missing from this city's creative ecosystem that you wish existed, and why hasn't it been built yet?
I think mostly it's infrastructure and funding. I've always said this, it's infrastructure and funding. It feels like we're not getting enough money to push us. If you look at London as a commercial media center of sorts, there's a lot of money there, whether it's government funding, Arts Council funding, local government funding, or just rich people that are willing to get behind great ideas. We just don't seem to have enough of that in the Northeast. It's not that the talent is lacking. There aren't people that can do it. It's just that the money isn't there. That's one thing. And sometimes when you don't have money, you can't build infrastructure. You don't have infrastructure, nothing works. So people like you and I are having to somehow build the infrastructure for the young people that are going to come behind us in the future. What we build now, what you're building now with your Stacking Dreams podcast, is going to set the path for people in 5-10 years time. But London has already done that.
I'm very excited thinking about it. Thank you. Project more, please.
But London has already done this 15-20 years ago. You know, so I just think it's just we're lacking in funding. Some people might argue that, you know, we're too far away from the south, so we're too far away from the action. So by the time people look outside of the booming London scene, we're too far up north. Some people argue that, but sometimes I disagree, because I think from where we are, we could build amazing things that people can tap in online, because at the end of the day, we're not looking at distance. We're on the internet. As long as you're on the internet,
exactly,
nobody knows that you're in London. It's how good you are. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to give an example. Based on what you've just said.
Sure.
Tunde Ednut,
yes,
lives in America.
Of course.
But he wields so much power. If anything is happening and Tunde is not speaking about it, you start to even look at them as people who have a voice. And he's doing this from way out of where he has the most influence.
Of course.
So, and that's country to country.
Yep.
So the Northeast London is just, 3 hours, but it's still from here to there if you really compare it, because that's the same time you used to drive from the mainland to the island. I'm just using areas that I'm conversant with to kind of describe the distance. But I think you do get my point. There are so many people making impact using this type of platform, or using the internet, and they don't even know the people that you're impacting. Like, you probably didn't know I existed until we met, but you were already inspiring me. I was already stalking your page and stalking your online platform. So it doesn't really make a difference to me. But sometimes we need to be reminded of that. Do you feel seen as a creator in Newcastle, or do you feel like the industry still overlooks what's happening up here?
I think it could be like, if I were to like attribute like percentages to it, I'd say now I'm starting to get seen, thank God. But obviously in the early days, absolutely not. But there are certain things that I had to do to change that. So for instance, I had to put myself in front of everyone as well. I was going to as many events as I could go to, and I was talking about myself on my podcast, thereby garnering a lot of interest as well. If you want to, you know, do this sort of thing, this podcast that we do on media, well, just be out there, because everybody's out there and talk to people. And, you know, if you go to an event and there's 100 people there and you make 3 friends, and out of those 3 friends, one of them is interested enough to be a guest on your show, you're building, because they're coming with their friends and their community as well. So there was definitely a time in the beginning when I didn't feel seen, but I'd have to say that I'm thankful with the level of, recognition and discoverability that I'm getting now. But that's only come as a result of the amount of sort of like work I've put into being out there myself,
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I agree. That's fair.
Fair. We were talking about this during the commercial break.
Yes.
The use of the word fair.
Fair.
Shout out to the boys on Shxts and Gigs.
Shout out to James and Fuhad. What would change if Newcastle started taking its Black and African creative community as seriously as
It'll make more money. Way more money. We know that when the MOBOs came to Newcastle, they made a lot of money. They saw the importance of bringing. So I saw statistics a few weeks ago that Black creativity in the UK, potentially Black music, accounts for a high proportion of the money that comes into the industry as a whole in the UK.
Wow.
So yeah, that just goes to show you that, what we're doing, Black culture, African culture,
it's worth it.
Africans in the diaspora is, it prints a lot of bills. So if you keep playing with us, it will take you a long time to develop your region. But if you take us seriously, we'll make you money. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Decide how long you want to take to stay broke, essentially.
Truly. And there's something I wanted to say with regards to making money. I noticed that the average British person tries to avoid the topic with regards. I don't know why. Let me give you a vivid example. Heavy spoilers.
Right.
There were times where you've said something about making shitload of money. That was the only time I felt like he wasn't comfortable completely 100% with the dialogue.
Yeah.
He was very chilled, very laid back throughout. But anytime you hit that, that topic of, oh, you must be making a shitload of money, I sense that like nobody wants to discuss that. But if you go to the US and see creators, they'll be like, oh, I made $45,000.
They're a lot more open about it.
Yeah, they're very open about the figures.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you think that is?
I think it's very interesting. It's a really good question. And given the fact that I've lived in the US and I've also lived, and I'm obviously now living in the UK, I think US culture is very capitalist in nature. I think the US, Americans have this sort of like attitude about commerce and about business that's very kind of like performative. This is what I can do. This is what I'm doing. And these are my goals and I'm going to achieve them. And I'm going to talk about my goals and I achieve them because I can motivate a lot of people as well. The mindset in that country is very, this is where dreams are made. So let's do it. I don't think the UK has that. The UK is a lot more silent about what they do. In everything that they do, they prefer to take the stance of not talking about things,
Oh, what am I already thinking? Like, is it just what you said? I'm just thinking about historically, everyone who has been through your show, they would have really grown truly. It would just be nice to say, this platform was where it was the first person that gave me an interview or something like that. It's just so cool.
Indeed.
And is there a chapter 2, like something bigger you're building towards that you haven't talked about publicly?
I think with chapters that I'm building, I think it's the media company in itself. I want it to be a door for other podcasters to come through in the future, other shows. I've always said this publicly. It's not even, I don't hide this, but I want shows better and bigger than mine to come on to work with us at Init Studios. Because if I can work with them and, we can kind of like put the city on the map once and for all, let's do it,
Yes.
I'd love to have like a show like Shxts and Gigs for my company. I'd love to have a show like The Rest is History. One of the companies that I draw inspiration from, they're a media company, they produce podcasts, is Goal Hanger. And if you haven't heard of Goal Hanger, it's founded by Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker was once a footballer in the UK in the Premier League. And he does a podcast called The Rest is Football. But he does a podcast and owns Goal Hanger, and they produce a bunch of podcasts, and their podcasts are excellent. So The Rest is History, The Rest is Football, The Rest is Entertainment. All those shows that start with The Rest is Something, that's his creation. And that's essentially what Init Studios can become in the future. A network of great podcasts, great shows, documentaries, short films. I'm not a filmmaker, but I'd like to dabble in film, and that's kind of like where I see the future. So it's not necessarily something I'm working on in secret. It's something that I'm positioning myself for.
Cool stuff. I have a question on the back of what you've just said, which is, I'm a new podcaster. What can Init Studios offer me? For instance, if I came to you and said, I'm looking for how to I don't know where to go, or I don't know what to do at this point. You've seen me, you've seen my setup, and we've had conversations. You kind of know where I'm at now. And, you know, with the knowledge you also have about what you're building. What do you think Init Studios can offer me to elevate me even beyond where I am now with this journey?
Sure. First of all, let me say this to you. I think you're a great podcaster. Even though you're just starting out, I think you're a great presenter. You're really good at doing research. You've done a fantastic job on research on me today. So if I was speaking to you directly, I'd be looking at just basic advice and consultation. So how do we get your show in front of a lot of people is one of the first things I'll be thinking about. In terms of production, I'll try and simplify your production, or sort of like your production process, by giving you access to more equipment that are more easier during production, so they work and stuff, and then maybe help you with like guest selection, because I've had my own fair share of guests in the past, and I'm sure that you can probably benefit from some of the people that have come on my show, because if I know that you're going to do this level of sort of like research, then I can kind of like trust that you're going to do a good job on a good guest. So I think if you came through Init Studios and you became like either one of our shows or you partner with us in some ways, it'll be giving you every tool to make sure you're successful, because if you're successful, we're successful. So we want you to succeed, you know. So every show will come to us at a different phase in their journey. Some will come to us at the very beginning, some will come to us midway. Some people already know what they're trying to do, they just need help. So no matter what you come to us with, we've still got 6-7 years experience in the industry. So we'll hopefully be able to help you with something, you know. You know.
And you've already helped me. I just asked that question just in case there was somebody also listening.
For sure.
Like from the get-go, when I reached out to you and said, I'm now ready to, because I think I first reached out to you to say, oh, I'd like to, when I first met you, I was like, I'm starting a podcast. You're like, oh, you didn't think about it, like, what is it about? You didn't even go into that. You just said, no worries, when you're ready, let me know. Take your time. You said that, and it resonated with me because, you know, I was like, oh, it's just lights I need to like. You said lights are very important. Take your time. Like, you know, when you're ready, I'll be here. You extended that hand of support from day one. And I really appreciate that.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
So I want a real answer.
Sure.
Not like you've not been giving me real answers, but please be honest. What is the dream that Daps hasn't started yet? Not the podcast. Not Init Studios. The thing you haven't started or admitted to yourself yet.
So it's not something I haven't admitted to myself yet. It's something that I don't like to talk too much about. And I don't talk about this a lot, but I'll give you an exclusive on this podcast. Some people don't know this, but I'm actually a pilot. So
well, you mentioned aviation stuff.
I've got a private pilot's license, so I can fly 4-seater aircrafts. I trained to become a private pilot, and I completed that when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And my initial goal was to be a commercial pilot, you know, working in the airlines and stuff. That didn't pan out because it's very expensive, and I had to drop out of my training because it was really expensive. I was training out in America, and that was the dream that I wanted to pursue from the age of 7. I was very sure about it from 7 years old. But unfortunately, when it didn't work out, I had to do other things, which is what's led me to here in life. So I guess a dream that I haven't stacked yet is I still want to go back flying planes. Not necessarily in the capacity of flying commercial jetliners, but more in the capacity of, you know, maybe owning my own small aircraft and flying around the world.
With your girlfriend.
And take exactly
Some
that.
Mr. Great thing.
Exactly. So flying my girl, maybe my kids, and flying myself out to a podcast. You know, I want to get myself out there to Paris and doing an episode in Paris, stuff like that. Recently, I've been talking to a few pilots, so, you know, I'm keeping it quiet, but not too long from now, I might be getting back to aviation at some point, and that's definitely a big dream that I don't talk about a lot, and you've just got the exclusive. That's the drop.
Man, Dabs, you are like full of surprises, full of skills. Flying, podcasting, music. When are you going to start that dream?
Well, it's hard to say.
You wouldn't want to put it off for too long.
It's really hard to say now, but hopefully not long from now. It's just a case of I want to make sure that I'm in a much more financially viable position, because there's so much that I'm also trying to do. The more financially stable you are, flying is an expensive sport. It's an expensive hobby. So you have to make sure that you have, you know, like they say, enough dough in the bank account to be able to do stuff like that. So I just want to make sure that I'm comfortable, and then it could be like a passion project that I can build again and eventually get myself flying. It's a very lucrative industry to be in. I don't really necessarily want to be, you know, like a professional level as such. I just want to get my basic licenses and get back flying. So hopefully soon, maybe if people subscribe to my channel and I start monetizing.
Yes, please subscribe
to Chilling with Daps. You can fund my pilot dreams. Right?
That one saved day as I dress.
I can tell that you like reading, so I bought you some books.
Oh, I say a lot.
I just wanted to do stuff as well.
Oh,
Keep the guests busy, things that people can do, and as you keep growing the podcast, we'll keep sending you more stuff as well. So
thank you, Daps. I saw this Sunday. I was like, I'm sure it's for me. But let me just respect myself and act like I don't know. Thank you so much. I need to put it in a cute bag.
I saw a pink bag, but I thought pink and blue is more telling.
Yeah, well, I'm not really a pink girl, but the blue just balances it out. Guys, look at this. I'm so happy. Thank you so much.